race. I want to tell you a little bit about a unique program that has come to IOGP Racing through the local River Race Augusta Committee and spearheaded by Roland Dye, and is the local sponsorship program by providing sponsorship to the drivers on the tour. And first of all, it creates local enthusiasm for the race itself, and local sponsors support the event itself by helping the local drivers financially, as well as putting on driver parties and special events. It gets a chance for the drivers to meet the local fans and some of the sponsors, and the program makes special sports advertising a possibility even for the smallest area businesses. And sometimes this grows into major commitments. Take, for example, Castleberry Foods, who last year were a member of the local sponsorship program. This year, along with the state of Georgia and Total Look, are sponsoring boats all season long on the IOGP Tour. Well, speaking of boats, the man who has spent more time in capsules than any other driver in the Champ Boat class is Gene Thibodeau. We had a chance to talk to him.
Well, it's entirely different. You're able to spend a lot more time concentrating on the boat. You feel that everything the boat does, your body makes that same movement. In the old days, the boat would get whipped side to side, and your body would do twice what the boat did, and you couldn't keep total concentration on the boat. Now it's like you're directly hooked to it, and in a way you are. In fact, you're strapped to the sail. And the boats are actually faster and faster, even though they're a little heavier, because you're able to spend more time driving the boat.
And here's the lineup for the first IOGP Champ Boat race of 1987. Bill Siebold on the pole with a time of 116 miles an hour, winner of heat number 1. Michael Werner, winner of heat number 2. Gene Thibodeau, a newcomer with Jimmy Johnson. Mike Siebold qualified in 5th. Don Johnston now in the new Arcadian team boat. John Hill, former world champion, and Buck Thornton, who qualified 8th. Won a race last year on the IOGP Tour. Randy Gore, Steve D'Souza, who did very well in 1986. Art Kennedy, a newcomer here. Bill Roscoe out of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, qualified 12th. Craig Wendt, a newcomer out of California. Bruce Washburn. Chuck McKay coming out of retirement to race here this afternoon. Chris Bush out of St. Paul, Minnesota. And Jonathan Jones, the world champion. Mark Wilson, who won the race here a year ago. Guido Cappellini, the Italian. And then finally Scott Gilman, the IMSA off-road racer. 20 quality drivers. As we're under 20 seconds now. Total silence now. A dead engine start, 20 seconds to go. The fuel pumps are turned on. The boats are getting ready to go. The flag is up. Mike Tomlinson, the race referee, drops the flag and we're underway. It's a tremendous start, and the Seabolds have problems, and it looks like it's Gene Thibodeau as the Bill Holland team jumps out to a 1-2 start. It's Thibodeau on the inside. Werner trying to work his way on the outside as you watch the whole field of 20 boats making their way into this very important turn number 1, and it looks like Thibodeau has slowed down and stopped. There's some confusion in turn number 1 as the boats go through, Mike.
Well, Buck Thornton missed the buoy. It looks like Gene Thibodeau, he pulled to the inside.
And the back of the pack looks like they're making their way through cleanly as we look at Gene Thibodeau dead in the water. And we'll watch it one more time. Watch Gene Thibodeau heading off to the left. We watch the boats behind him. This is the important angle, Michael.
Well, Thibodeau, it appears, had some type of problem. And Buck, it's hard to tell if he just tried to follow Thibodeau around or just tried to avoid him and missed the buoy doing it.
This sets up a potential problem here with the scoring. It's going to be a nightmare for him.
It could be. It's going to be up to the race officials to decide whether he missed the buoy trying to avoid Thibodeau or missed it trying to follow him around the race course.
And through all the confusion, we find out who our leader is. It's Buck Thornton, who started off in the 8th position. As we watch the drivers come through, there's the 5th place boat of Chris Bush. He's making remarkable progress. Mike, he started in 16th place, but look at the lead. Buck Thornton, who rockets down the back straightaway. He's right to the limit. He's really flying this boat as he comes through turns number 3 and 4.
Well, that's a new boat for Buck this year, and he's in a capsule. And Buck is getting up there in age a little bit, and that capsule, like Thibodeau said in the interview, that could be helping him. He's not being tossed around that boat, and Buck is an excellent driver.
And so are the 5 Europeans that are here, including this man, Michael Werner, who won the championship here on the IOGP Tour last year. He's currently up into 3rd place. In 9th place is Mark Wilson. He won the race last year. And this man right here, the world champion last year, that is Jonathan Jones. He's in 13th place. The Europeans coming on strong. We got a long way to go. The inside, Thornton taking the outside route. It's Werner off in 2nd place. And there's your 3rd place man, Mike Siebold out of St. Louis, Missouri. We come back to our leader, and Mikey is really walking away from the competition. He's making good his escape.
Buck made the right decisions. He qualified 8th in the calm water earlier, and he watched the other 2 classes and noticed how rough it got so quick. So he changed propellers to to compensate for that rough water, and it made the difference.
And the Will Power Racing team has been doing a lot of homework in the last day or so. They were out here till sunset last night, and it looks like it's really starting to pay off for the 47-year-old who has 18 national titles to his credit. And oh my, Mike, it'd be nice for him to start off 1987 with a big victory here.
Now there's a sight you don't see often. Bill Siebold being lapped, although he did have a problem with the starting dock.
Well, Thornton continues to eclipse the field. He starts moving up now on Billy Roscoe. Takes Roscoe to the outside and goes down the long straightaway. As the leaders come through, we pick it up in lap number 15. We look now farther back in the field. There's Bill Siebold, as we mentioned, having problems this afternoon. But it looks like he's starting to pick the pace up a little bit, and he's starting to run a little bit better as the race goes on. There's his younger son, Mike Siebold, 28 years of age. He is currently in second place in this race. He has the last 2 seasons on the IOGP Tour, finished second in the standings, and he wants to start off quickly in 1987 with a good result. He's up to second place, Mike.
Well, Michael's one of the younger drivers in the circuit, and he is definitely one of the ones to watch at every event.
Siebold, who's also racing in Europe this year, as well as running in America, as we watch the boats come out of turns number 3 and 4. There's Chris Busch. He continues to move up. He's been very impressive today on that red and white Castleberry's food entry. He started 16th. He's up to 4th right now. And here is a 30-year-old from Turvey, Bedfordshire, England, who won the race a year ago, Mark Wilson. And Wilson not having as much luck as he did a year ago, but starting to move up. And there's Randy Gore. He's dropped out. Gore, who had done very well in the race early on, is done for the day. We have reached lap 23. Steve D'Souza in the new Easy Loader team, who started 10th, is working his way up the leaderboard.
Steve is a very aggressive driver, and he tells me he really likes the new capsule boats. This is his first year in one.
Back to our leader, Buck Thornton. He sets in for the turn, takes a tighter line. He starts to head out onto the front straightaway. Thornton, who last year won in New Martinsville and then got hot, Mike. He came up and won not only in Paris, but also helped the Americans win back the Harmsworth Trophy in London.
Here's our last year's winner, Mark Wilson. And he's running a rented boat this year. It's his boat from last year, but his new boat wasn't completed in time, so he had to rent this boat from Larry Mumford, and he's not having as good a time as he did last year when he ended up winning this race. And just a little sidelight, he had to convince a stewardess to bring his engine over to box on the airplane last year just to compete.
Well, he's doing very well today, but this man is not. John Hill, the 2-time world champion driving the Nordica Mercury-powered Burgess machine, has slowed down. The Steve Enslow entry looks like he will not finish the race. He qualified 7th. We're up to lap 30 now, and this man is on the roll. Chris Busch, he started 16th in the Castleberry Foods entry. He is working his way up now to 6th place as Busch is chipping away at the leaders here, and he has really turned the jets up. And he's chasing down these people right here. Mike Siebold, who is currently in 2nd place. Siebold trying to take the outside route and will pass Mark Wilson, last year's winner. And right behind him is Michael Werner, who's in 3rd. Werner now, last year's series champion, is trying to find any which way to get around Mike Siebold. And we go back to our leader, Buck Thornton, who's having it all his own way this afternoon, Buck.
Buck is running a flawless race. He's got the inside line. The boat, you can tell, is perfectly aired out for a tunnel boat in the condition we're running in.
Michael Werner, who is currently back in 3rd place, the Wiley 2-time world champion, who didn't start racing until he was 25 years of age, is trying to find a way around Mike Siebold. We've reached lap 41. We've got 9 remaining. Now we take you inside the cockpit to show you what the driver is seeing as he goes around this 1.25-mile course. Back to our leader once again, Buck Thornton, as he starts to lap Scott Gilman one more time. Coming down the front straightaway, Michael, you can see the water is really starting to churn up now.
I don't think it's any rougher than it was earlier in the race. What Buck's got to watch out for now is not to get too relaxed in the boat. Towards the end of the race now, you might think, well, I got it in the bag, but that's when people get into trouble.
Thornton very much the man in charge here as he comes down the far straightaway, having clear traffic now as he makes the turns through 3 and 4. As you wane down to the final laps of a race, your mind starts to wander as a driver. Can that be a problem?
Like I said, it could be a problem, but Buck is an experienced driver, and I don't think it's going to bother him in this race.
Werner still trying to move up. He's sitting in 3rd. He'd like to get in front of Mike Siebold. Remember, they're battling for championship points, and every time you move up, you're gaining more valuable points on the season. We see Thornton coming by one more time on the front straightaway. He'll be taking the white flag, which will say he only has one more lap, or 1.25 miles around, before he can be credited with the victory this afternoon. And Michael, he is not slowing down one bit.
Oh, he can't. I mean, even though he knows he has it in the bag, he can't slow down because That's where drivers make mistakes.
All eyes will be on this man from North Carolina on the back stretch. He's halfway home on his final lap here this afternoon of the 50-lap race. And he's been averaging 107 miles an hour for 50 laps around. He's 18 seconds ahead of Mike Seabold. He swings the final turn wide, and he sets up as he heads down toward the checkered flag, and Will Pergandy and crew, his first victory on the IOGP Tour in 1987. That was a great run by Buck. I tell you, he had it flawless. Just walked away from the competition today.
It was the most decisive victory we've ever had. I mean, he was just there all the way. On the start, we started from A spot, and we never thought that we'd move up the first, come out of the first turn, but he did a heck of a job driving the boat. I mean, it was set up loose, as you could see, but we were set up to win, and we just wanted this one real, real bad for Buck. You know, he had a baby girl a couple weeks ago, so what a Father's Day present for him.
If Buck keeps running like that the rest of the year,